Okay, hi. Today we're going to look at Poodle languages. We're going to see how to use it, what it can do, and then we're going to try and make a few activities on a demo course and see how they go. So let's get started. So first we'll start with a quick introduction to Poodle. Then we'll talk about read aloud, which is one of the Poodle languages activities, mini lesson, word cards, and finally solo. So Poodle has two main packages. The first is Poodle Media, the second is Poodle Languages. Today we're going to talk about Poodle Languages, so I'm going to go straight through to the next slide. And Poodle Languages has 4 activity modules: Poodle Read Aloud, Poodle Word Cards, Poodle Mini Lesson, and Poodle Solo. The activities we're going to use today are on the demo site, and that's always up to date. When you log in there or when you access there, you'll be automatically logged in as a teacher and a student at the same time. So you can create activities or you can use activities, and then what you do each day is reset, and the following day you can start again. So your activities or any attempts that you make on them are not saved. That's at demo.poodle.com. And if you want more information about how to do things, there's a support site that's at support.poodle.com, and there's a listing of each plugin and how to install it, how to configure it, and how to use it. So the first activity we're going to look at is Poodle Read Aloud. So let's go and see that on our demo site and see how it goes. This is the demo site here, demo.poodle.com. We access our demo course. We're automatically logged in as, in this case, this user here with a nice pink smiley face. And it's organized by Poodle Media and Poodle Languages. And the Poodle Languages activities each have a section of their own. So this is the Read Aloud activity here. Let's go and open that up. So by default, the Read Aloud has 3 phases or 3 steps: listen, practice, and read. And in the listen phase, the student sees a passage, and they can play that and hear it read aloud to them.
In a forest there lived a lion. He had grown old and could not run fast.
Now ultimately they're going to read that passage themselves, so it's nice for them to hear an audio target, to actually hear how it's pronounced rather than just try to decode text on the page. So the listen step, very simple but actually very important. Now the practice step, this is very similar to the listen phase. It'll go through and read the passage aloud, but after each line it'll pause and the user gets to practice speaking that line. So let's try.
In a forest there lived a lion.
Now I'm going to try and say that. I'll make a mistake so you can see what a mistake looks like. In a there lived a lion. Okay, so we can see that I didn't do very well, and I can try again. If I want to hear the model audio again, I press this button here.
In a forest there lived a lion.
If I want to hear my own audio again, I can press this button here. There lived a lion. Okay, let me try again and I'll pronounce it nicely this time. In a forest there lived a lion.
He had grown old and could not run fast anymore.
Okay, I won't do too many more, we'll just carry on. And finally, the student reads the entire passage aloud without any assistance. So let's get started, although we won't actually read the entire passage. In a forest there lived a lion. He had grown and could not run anymore. As days went by, it became more difficult for him to hunt. One day, while he was wandering through the forest in search of food, he came across a cave. Now after reading, it'll take a few minutes for your results to become available, or perhaps a minute or so for the results to become available. But in the meantime, let's have a look at what the results do look like to the teacher. So go and look at the grading page here. And we can see we have a number of attempts from different students. As a teacher, we can grade them ourselves by using the Grade Now button, but they've actually already been graded by AI. And if we take one of these activities that's been done recently, so here is our activity that we've just done, but let's choose another one. So let's choose this one here. How about that one? Okay, so we have an audio player, so we can play back the audio. We can see the passage and the point up until which the student has read, and then we have these red highlighted words which are where the mistakes were made. So this student's done very well. They've got 96% accuracy, a words per minute score of 97, and a grade of 97. So in this case, the target words per minute score is 100. And so if they get 97 for their words per minute score, they're going to get 97%. But you can set the target words per minute score to a different value, and that will be used in the grade calculation. As a teacher, I can listen to the audio, and if I think that this word was actually pronounced correctly, I can uncheck that, or if I think this word was actually mispronounced, I can check that also. In many cases, teachers just want to accept the AI feedback and use this as an opportunity for students to practice speaking and reading without the teacher's assistance. Let's go back and have a look at our reading that we've just done, and we can see, of course, I'm a native speaker, so I can do that quite quickly, but my words per minute score is 162, and my accuracy is 94%, and of the total words I read 49. As a student, I can go and have a look at report of what my results look like, and here we have the passage that I read, the points at which my words were not picked up correctly, and a breakdown of my scores. If I'm not sure how to pronounce a particular word, I can click on that word, and then the AI will read that for us. So let me click on the word forest.
Forest.
Okay, so that's how the Read Aloud works as a teacher and as a student. Now, if we want to create such an activity, how do we do that? So let's go back to our slideshow here, and I'll just go to the next page. And this is the text we're going to use to create the activity. It's a text about polar bears. I'm just going to quickly jump out of slideshow mode. That will allow me to copy this text here. I'm going to copy that. And we're going to create a new Moodle Read Aloud, paste the passage into the activity, set the time limit to 30 seconds, and then we'll test the listen, the practice, and the read modes. And we might even change the voice that's used to read that passage aloud. So let's try that. So the first thing we want to do is put our course into edit mode. So we'll just go back to the top page, put our course into edit mode, go down to our Read Aloud section, add an activity or resource, and in here we will have Read Aloud. Terrific. Now our passage is about polar bears, so let's just type in the name polar bears here. And we don't really need a description, although it is possible to put one. So we'll just paste our passage in here. Okay. And the passage language is English. The text-to-speech voice is a British voice, Amy. I think we can leave the defaults as they are for now. If we turn on can exit early, that means a student doesn't have to wait until the time limit finishes for them to leave the activity, if they're fast or if we're just testing. So that's nice for testing to put can exit early, even though in practice you may not want to do that. Save and display. There's a short pause while it generates the text-to-speech audio and marks it up, and I'll just remove that so we can see it in all its glory. Click on listen and play.
When most people think of polar bears, they imagine solitary hunters roaming the ice in search of their next meal.
Okay, so the text-to-speech voice is quite nice in this case. That particular passage that we have to read there is quite long, but we can adjust that. Let's just see how that goes in play mode, in
When
practice
most
mode.
people think of polar bears, they imagine solitary hunters.
When most people think of polar bears, they imagine solitary hunters. Okay. Now, if we want to change the point at which the model audio stops and creates breaks, we can do that in the model audio tab here. Scroll down, and these are the points in which, at which the model audio breaks for us to practice or to be highlighted. in this case, between polar bears and they, there won't be much of a gap, but this would be a nice place to put a break, so we can go like that if we want to. So there might be a little bit of run-on in the audio if we do that. But a nice way of doing this is to put commas or periods in the locations where you want to put breaks, and then there'll be a small pause in the audio. That's a nice place for you to add a break. And once you've finished marking it up, you can press Save Model Audio Markup. Now if you want to change the voice, we just go back to the settings for the activity, scroll down. Here's our text-to-speech voice. So let's try a voice, an Indian voice, Kajal. Okay. Many of our users come from India and they like to hear a voice that's a bit more something they like you to hear in daily life. So let's have a look at that one.
When most people think of polar bears, they imagine solitary hunters roaming.
Okay, great. So that is how to create and use a read aloud activity. So let's go to our next slide. So let's go back into slideshow mode. And we're going to look at mini lesson. So mini lesson, it's listening and speaking drills, and over on the demo course we can see those quite nicely. So let's go have a look. Here is the mini lesson course here, and if we look at the bad bacon activity, we'll see there are 7 steps in this mini lesson. The first step is to watch this video and answer the questions. Before we do that, I'm just going to show you the lesson items and what mini lesson looks like. So we can see we've got, how many do we have there? We have 11 different item types: content page, multi-choice, dictation chat, dictation, listen and speak, multi-choice audio, short answer, and several gap fill activities and speech cards. Once we've created these practice items, they form the lesson. So in this case we've got 7 items and they form a lesson. The content page is the first one, then we have a multi-choice question, another multi-choice question, multi-choice audio, which is where the student speaks the multi-choice answer, says the multi-choice answer. Listen and speak, speech cards, and dictation. I'll quickly go through and show you how that works from the student's perspective, and then we'll try creating an activity ourselves. So let's watch the video. We won't watch the whole video. So the basic idea here is that the woman is eating bacon and then her husband comes home and he's a vegetarian, so she rushes to hide all the information that she's been eating bacon, or the evidence that she's been eating bacon. Okay, so we've finished watching the video. We're going to go to the next page, and now we have a question. It's a basic multi-choice question. So what was the lady doing at the start of the video? We know that she was cooking bacon, so we'll choose that. And on the next page, this is still a multi-choice question, but in this case the answers aren't shown to the student. They have to listen to the answers and then choose them. So let me listen to 1 or 2 of the answers and then choose one.
She put it in the sink. She put it in the fishbowl.
Okay, so where did she try to hide the bacon? Let's say that she put it in the fishbowl, which is not correct, but let's see what happens. Okay, so we've selected it. The actual answer is displayed beneath that, but we were not correct. And then this is the multi-choice audio question. So here we can listen to the question.
Why did the man fall down?
Listen to the answers.
He ate too much bacon.
And then we can speak the answer. So let's read this first answer, which again is not correct, but we'll see how it works. He ate too much bacon. He ate too much bacon. Okay. Then we have listen and repeat, which is much as you would expect. We'll hear a sentence and then we have to read it back.
The woman was cooking bacon.
The woman was cooking bacon.
She started to eat the bacon.
I'll make a little mistake. She wanted to eat the bacon. Okay. And then the next item in the mini lesson is speech cards. So here we have to read what's on the card and we don't have any audio assistance. The woman was cooking bacon. The woman was cooking bacon. With the speech recognition, there are some settings to make it more or less sensitive. There's not a great range between which you can choose there, but in this case it's more strict, so even a poor pronunciation will actually get picked up. But there's another setting which will make it less strict, so that even slightly rough pronunciation will be accepted. Let's move on to the dictation, and again, this is as much as you would expect. We can listen to the audio and then try to type what we hear.
The woman was cooking bacon.
Okay. In this case, it's punctuation insensitive, so we don't need to put the period, but if we do, that's nice. And finally, we have our results page. So we didn't do very well because we didn't complete most of the activities, but if we want more details on our results, we can go through and see a question by question breakdown. Okay, so let's try and create one of those activities. So we'll head back to the top page, put the course into edit mode, and then we'll just go back to our slideshow and we'll see what we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to create a similar activity with a YouTube video in the beginning and a multi-choice audio question and then a listen and a speak activity. So again, I'll just quickly jump out of slideshow so that I can copy this text here. Put our course into edit mode, which we've done. Add an activity or resource. Add a mini lesson. We'll call this one French fries because it's a video that's actually about French fries. And most of the information here I think we can just leave as it is, so let's do that. And once you arrive at a mini lesson, if it does not have any lesson items yet, then you're prompted to add some. So let's add some lesson items. The first one we're going to add is that content page, which is going to have a video, a YouTube video. So the instructions here are watch the video and then answer the questions. Okay, we'll leave a few mistakes in the instructions here. Okay, in this case, the media that we're going to add is not an uploaded file, it's going to be a YouTube clip. So just click on YouTube clip and we'll add in the YouTube URL, or the video also, this ID duck here would also work. The YouTube clip, so this allows us to set a start and an end time. We don't need to set a start and an end time, so if we just leave that as is, that's fine. But sometimes at the end of a video or at the beginning of the video there's some little bits that you don't really want. So just to show how that might work, I'm going to put 1 here and 30 here, so we'll go between 1 and 30 seconds. And if the video is 60 seconds long or 35 seconds long, it's going to stop at 30 seconds and we'll start at second 1. There are other options here for adding images or audio or other resources. Okay, so that's our content page. We can pop that open and have a quick look at what that looks like. Okay, and there's our video there. Okay, it's actually not the video I intended, but we can see how it works anyway. Great, and if we want to duplicate that, we can do that. Or if we want to delete that, we can do that too. Now the next question that we want to add here is what did the small man do? This is a multi-choice audio. So I'm just going to just copy this one here. What did the small man do? In actual fact, it's not the video that I was expecting, so the questions here don't make perfect sense, but that's okay. Let's click on multi-choice. Sorry. Multi-choice audio. Okay, and the question text is here, what did the small man do? And let's say he stole a French fry. Item 2 might be he ate a French fry. Item 3 might be he fell asleep. And item 4, he made a new friend. So we'll make the correct answer the first answer. We can choose to show the full text of these answers to the students, or to just show dots so that they have to listen to the audio. Let's leave it as full text for now. And the passage reader's voice here is Joey, a US voice. Okay, that's fine. So let's do this. Okay, great. Now let's review that before we actually move on. What did the small man do? Let's say he stole a French fry. Listen to it first.
He stole a French fry.
He stole a French fry. Okay, so there you go. That's working correctly. So that's the correct answer, and that's the one that was picked up by a speech recognizer also. So that's great. So we've now got 2 of our 3 items, and the final item is a listen and speak. So in this case I can just copy this here, which is handy. Go back, and we're going to add a listen and speak here. The description of this text is fine. We can alter that, but it sounds listen and repeat. Sometimes it's not simply repeating, so let's change it. Listen and repeat the sentences that you hear. I'll pop in the items that we just copied earlier. Now we can just put each sentence on its own line, so it's quite easy to copy and paste, and that's quite nice. And it's easy to come back and edit too, because the audio is automatically generated. We might as well choose a different voice though, because we've listened to that one already. So let's use US Ricky. And we can show dots instead of letters, or we can show the full text of what we want the student to say. So let's use full text and save. Great, so let's have a look at how that looks. Just takes a while to load the audio there, but that should be there in a minute. Okay.
2 men were sitting on a bus.
2 men were sitting on a bus. Okay. 2 men were sitting on a bus.
One man stole a French fry.
1 man stole a French fry. Okay, great. So those 3 items are working nicely. And if we go now and look at that from a student's perspective, we'll go to the view page. There's our video. And here's our multi-choice audio question with the text showing. And here's our listen and speak activity. Okay, so that's how to create a mini lesson. Let's go back to our course. And let's look at the next activity, which is a Poodll word cards activity. So this is a word learning activity, much like Quizlet, but on Moodle. We give students lists of words to learn and to practice, and we can track their progress and give grades, and it's a very nice activity. So let's go to word cards, which is here. And we'll look at this activity here, which is English words for Japanese learners. So in this case, the definitions are in Japanese for a Japanese class, a class of Japanese students, but they're learning English. So we have 25 words in this set. We can step through the different cards to see each of the new words. Each of the words has an audio button so we can listen to how it's pronounced, and we also have a model sentence which can also listen to. If we flip the card, we can see the translation of that word into the student's native language, in this case Japanese. And if we click on the video button, which is optional, then it'll load YouTube videos that use the target word, and we can hear that spoken in authentic English or whatever language it is.
And you also provide other financial services for those. Well, that's right.
Okay, so in this case we're learning the word small, and you can see all these different videos that have the word small. This is optional, it's not required to, you can turn that off if you don't like that. And beneath the cards display, we actually have a list of the words, and we can see the student's progress towards the learned status. So if they've learned that word, which is 7 or so correct associations, then it'll have this little check mark here. But if we've got this little progress bar here, that's how many correct associations of the 7 they have achieved. Okay, and in this case there's a lot of words, so it's going to take some time for them all to be learned. They don't need to learn them all to complete the activity, because the activity is arranged into steps. So we've got practice 1, practice 2, practice 3, practice 4, and after they've completed those 4 steps, they can get their grade and the activity completion can be triggered. The student view is slightly different. If I put this into student view here, you can see they still have the cards display, and beneath that the list of words, but this is very clear that there's several steps in this activity that they need to go through. Start, practice, 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 practice. We can also set these steps as review steps, in which case they'll be looking at words they've previously learned in the course. And after the student has finished the steps mode, or optionally if you choose to enable it, then they can have free mode, and in free mode they can practice from the different practice activity types how they want. This actually gives us an opportunity to see what the activity types are. Choose the answer, type the answer, listen and type, say the words, listen and choose, and space game. And those words work much as you would expect them to work. And very similar to mini lesson in some cases. So let's look at type the answer. So we get an introduction screen where we've chosen, of the 25, we've chosen 6 of the words. You can configure how many words you want to be in each practice item type. 25 might be too many if you want to do different activities in a sequence, so you can choose how many. In this case it's 6. We can flip the words to see the actual English, but on the front face we're seeing here the Japanese. We begin the activity and the student has to type the answer. There's an on-screen keyboard which is good for mobile devices, but also good for languages that the keyboard is not familiar to students, for example Arabic or Cyrillic characters. So in this case the answer is small, so I'm going to type in small. And that is move, and I'm going to type in a mistake, which is MOVV, and we get a mistake. Okay. So that's how the activity appears to students. There's even a little space game here which kids love. Quick look at that. And they get to shoot the correct definition of the word. So in this case, the word is hajimeru, which is begin. So they're looking for the word begin in English, and there it is there. And I didn't get that. I died before I got there. Okay. So that's a quick introduction to how word cards works and what it looks like to students. We can also add pictures if you want to add pictures. So let me show you how the pictures look. If we go over to the sushi activity, there's a Japanese theme here. And we're still actually logged in as a student, so we're seeing the student view. If I flip the card, there's no video in this case. We've chosen not to use a video, but there is an image for each of the cards. If we go down and look at the lists, we can see there's also an image in the lists, and in this case we haven't set a model sentence. I'm going to leave student mode and go back to my normal mode. Now one of the questions that teachers ask us is how they make these activities and do they have to make them themselves. So yes, it's an activity where you have to create the word lists yourself, which is actually what you want, because you'll be studying different words to most people based on your curriculum, on the textbooks that you're using. You can add the words one by one using the Words Admin tab here. Clicking Add New, or edit the existing words here. If I click Add New, we'll see how to do that. Oh, come on. There it is there. So we had the term, the definition, or actually the translation is a better way of describing that. The model sentence, any acceptable mistranscribes for text-to-speech, and then you can add some images for audio or video. And for the model sentences, not video, sorry, audio or images or model sentence audio. But the model sentence and the word audio are actually generated using text-to-speech. You would only use those upload features if you weren't happy with the text-to-speech, or if the language that you're teaching didn't have a text-to-speech voice for you to use. You can import words also, which is a much faster way of creating activities than going one by one, creating a word list than going one by one. Or you can use a word wizard and search for words in the wizard. So if I type in a word here, I can put a list of words in here. The dictionary will show us results, and we can choose the results, the correct results, and they'll form a part of the word lesson, word activity. Well, let's go and see how we'd actually create a new activity from scratch. So let's leave the word cards activity. Put our course into edit mode, and just scroll down to word cards. Add a new activity or resource. Find word cards from the list. Okay. Before we go any further, let's go to our activity here, and we're going to use this list of words here. So the students are learning English, but the definition is going to be in Spanish. So let me just pop out of there so that I'm able to copy and paste that. Go back to our list here, and so easy Spanish words is the name of our activity. Now we should be a little bit careful here, because we want to make sure that it's actually easy English words, isn't it? So we're learning English. Confused myself. So we're learning English, but the target language is English and the definitions language is Spanish. Okay, and we've got steps mode and then free mode. So that means after the students have completed the steps and they've completed the activity, they can come back and practice using free mode. Do we want to have video examples? Let's say yes. How many correct associations do we want before we consider the word learned? Let's say 7. In the steps mode, which activities do we want to be shown? So let's choose the answer, and we'll make the pool of the words that they're going to practice 6, as we saw in the example before. Type the answer, we'll make that 6, and make the third one the space game, and again 6. Now we can also choose from the review words, and these are the words that they've previously learned in the course. So the students are perhaps on the 4th or the 5th word cards activity, and in the previous activities they learned words and we want to review those, so we can choose those also here. Okay, and then there's a few more settings, but let's go through and see what that looks like. Okay, so the first thing is we haven't got any words, so we need to add some words. So let's import them, because we have that nice set of words on our clipboard that we copied before. Okay, and there it is there. That's the list of words. We've used the delimiter here, which is the pipe. I find that a bit easier to work with, because sometimes there might be a comma in either the term or the definition. So in fact a pipe is a slightly safer character to use as a delimiter between term and definition. So save changes. We're going to have a look at that. So 11 words or 11 rows were successfully imported. If we go back to the start and have a look at our list of words, you can see the list of words there, and We even have a video for the word. Okay. Now, the other way of creating word lists is to go to the dictionary, the word wizard, and let's type in, for example, fish and wash. Okay, fetch definitions. They'll go to the dictionary and fetch definitions, dictionary entries. So in this case, the definition is in Spanish, and the model sentence is in English, which is great. You won't get a result for every word that you might put in there. The dictionary isn't extensive, but it's a good learner's dictionary. If we go back now and have a look at how that looks, having added those words, all the way down here, see we have our word, model audio, the definition or translation, and we even have a model sentence here. Okay. So that is how to create and use a word cards activity. So the final activity we want to look at is Poodle Solo. So this is an open speaking assignment. So let's go back to our demo course and we'll try using Poodle Solo, and then we'll see how to make it. So head off to our course, take us out of edit mode, go down to Poodle Solo, and the practice activity that we have here is Cookie Monster and the Count. So in this activity, the student is going to watch this video of the Cookie Monster and the Count and then retell the story in their own words. So it's a really good activity for students. They enjoy these activities, and it's a finite, the range of English that they're going to use here is quite finite, so that allows us to grade it with some confidence, and also for students to compare their attempts and see how each of the others made the same attempt. So in this case, the target speaking time is 1 minute. The total words that we want the students to speak is 45. And we've got a list of target words that they should try to include in their speaking. And we actually use these targets as part of the grading mechanism. So we'll briefly watch a little bit of this YouTube video, but not much.
Greetings, it is I, the Count, and you're just in time to count some apples with me. Here we go. 1, 3 apples, yeah. I love it, isn't that fun? Great.
Okay, so you can see what's going to happen is that as the Count is counting the apples, the Cookie Monster arrives and begins eating them. And that's the story, and it's quite exciting. But let's have a little go at doing the activity ourselves. So I'm going to speak my version of this story in pretty poor English so that we can see how it will be graded. In this video, the Count, he's counting all the apples, but when he's counting those apples, Cookie Monster, he eat the apple. He eat all the apple, and then the Count, he was not happy. The Count, he cried, but the Cookie Monster, he came and he bought some apple cores, and then they counting them together. So that's actually what happens in the story in pretty bad English, so that we can see how it deals with a student who might speak in broken English. So in the background, that's transcribing, and that gives that's going to take a little bit of time. Before the student goes on to the final page, therefore, we give them a model answer that they can listen to see how a good student might have answered the same question. So let's listen to that briefly.
In this video, the Count was counting apples. But each time he stopped to laugh, the Cookie Monster would eat an apple. When the Count noticed this, he became upset because he had nothing to count.
Okay, and so it goes on. And we can also use the text of that model answer as a way of establishing how relevant the student's answer was to the question that was asked to them. In this activity, we're giving them the option to listen to their own audio and correct it if the text-to-speech didn't make a good job of transcribing them. This can be skipped, and in fact I think in most cases students don't really want to do this, and it can be skipped, but it's still an option. Let's continue on and just assume that the speech to text did a good job. Okay, and here are those results. So this is just a summary of the activity itself, what the student was asked to do. Here's our evaluation, which wasn't very good. And we can see this is the student's attempt, what they said. And these are the suggested corrections from the AI. So the student said, in this video, the count, he's counting all the apples. But here it's going to make a correction, and so instead of saying the count, he's counting all the apples, we should say the count is counting all the apples. Cookie Monster, he eat the apple becomes Cookie Monster eats the apple. He eat all the apple becomes he eats all the apples. So it's quite nice for students to see how the AI has corrected their speaking. It may not always be what they want to say, or how they'd like to say it, but it's actually very interesting, and students' feedback on this is very positive. One of the things they like is that there's less anxiety. They're not being corrected by a person or judged. It's just purely cold-hearted feedback. So that's good, isn't it? And if we look at the stats beneath that, we can see the total number of words they used, the unique words they used, how many long words they used, total sentences, and some other data about their speaking. You can use this as a teacher to track progress over the semester or over the course, how students are improving in their speech. The number of target words that we used and their speaking clarity. We give them an estimated CEFA level, which isn't used for grading, and a relevance, which is usually not used for grading, and a words per minute score. Okay, so that's great. How would we create such an activity in our own courses? So let's put our course into edit mode. We'll head back to our slideshow and just see what the activity we're going to create is. So we're going to give the students a picture, and then we're going to ask them, after having watched this picture, what will happen next. So we need a picture, and the target words are here, these ones here, and this is the model answer. So first of all, let's copy those target words so you don't have to copy them again later. Go back over to our course. Let's go to Poodle Solo, which is here. Add an activity or resource, which is great. Click on Poodle Solo. And we're going to call this 2 people. We'll see why when we upload the picture. Okay, so hold on a second. I'm going to just go back over here because the speaking topic is here. We actually want to put that at this point, don't we? So let's copy that and we'll go back over here. Here's our speaking topic there. Please describe this picture, say what will happen next, and try to use the target words. Okay. Now we have just here the sequence of the steps. So they're going to prepare, then record, and then transcribe or check the transcript of their own speaking. So why don't we just skip that transcript step to keep it simple. One of the other options there is to prepare, transcribe, record, and then model. So that's quite good if you want the students to actually type out their answer first before they do the recording. Okay, and we're going to go down here to add media. So this is, we do want to add media. We want to add a picture. So let's click on the icon there, upload a file, choose a file, and we'll use this 2 people picture here. Okay, great. And a speaking target. So this is actually important. This is how we grade students, but also it tells them what they're going to do. So we'll give them a target time of 2 minutes, and we'll give them a time limit of 3 so they don't go too long, but they only need to speak for 2 minutes. That in this particular case, perhaps that's too long, so why don't we make it 1 minute and 2 minutes. And then those target words. So these are the words we'd like them to include, at least some of them, in their speaking. They don't need to include all of them. The total words goal is 60. Well, let's make that 100. Enable AI suggestions, yes. Let's have a quick look at attempts and auto grading. So how we grade can be configured here. So the unique word total over the words goal. So the words goal was 100. So we want them to speak something close to 100 to get 100%, 100 words to get 100%. Speaking clarity is a measure of how well their transcript matches what they intended to say. So if we skip the transcript step, the manual transcript step, that's usually going to be 100. The relevance, so is a similarity of the model answer to the student's answer going to be considered in the grading? So let's suggest that they should be very similar, because they're talking about a particular picture, which is going to be, the answer should be pretty close to the model answer. Suggestions do not affect grade, that's probably the best setting, and we want to give them 3 points per target word spoken. We could give them penalties for spelling mistakes or grammar mistakes, or bonus for a big word. So why don't we give them a bonus for a big word? Okay. And the final thing we want to do is to set a model answer. So the model answer, it's optional, but we do have one prepared, and it's better to have one. So let's take this model answer here, bring it back over here, and that becomes the model answer. Now we actually want the student to be able to hear that model answer. So it's not necessary that they have the step where they hear the model answer. It's just nice to have the model answer to establish the relevance of their answer to the question. But in this case, we'd probably like to give them the option of hearing the model answer too. So let's paste in their model answer, and we probably want to add a picture to go along with that. So let's just add the same picture because we're a bit lazy. But that could be the picture of a person who is presumably reading the model answer or speaking the model answer. Okay, great. So let's save all of that. Let's have a look. Okay, so here's our activity. We've got our speaking topic. Please describe this picture. We've got the target speaking time, the total number of words, target words. Here's our picture. It's 2 people lying on the ice, and the ice is cracked. And that's why we're going to ask what happens next. And then we've got a target speaking time, a total speaking time of 2 minutes, but the target time is 1 minute. Okay. I won't go through and do the activity. I think it's enough to see how it's made and what it looks like. So that's a quick introduction to how to use Poodle languages and how to create Poodle languages activities. If you have any questions, just contact me at justin@poodle.com or visit our support@support.poodle.com website.